Hey everybody, Adam And here. I just wanted to give you a quick demo on tools production. So what that means is being able to move tools from one shard or server to another shard or server in something approaching real time. And I'll talk a little bit about the details, how that works in a second, but you'll notice my blue robe here indicates I'm on my local development machine. So all of my local shards I use for development, I always dress myself in a blue robe. And then over here, if I'm in a gold robe, that means it's the production server and then one of the shards on the server. So this is test center, that's in my title here. This is test center on my local machine. So I dynamically set my robe because I often have 2, 3, 4 clients open, and just by looking at my character I know where I am. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to move some tools from my local machine to the production machine. Okay, and if you're a developer, you know that the problem here is really not only the movement of the items but the serial numbers. So let me just demo it for you first, and then we can talk about how it works. So in my backpack I have this thing, we use these a lot. It's a region controller. This one's for our quest on Dagger Island, and it's fairly sophisticated. It's got 18 regions now, and I don't want to recreate these on production. I just want to move this thing over to the production server in one fell swoop. I can move anything. Actually, I could move my swords, my weapons, my ethereal llama, rune books. It doesn't matter, but we'll move this guy here just for fun here. So I usually add a container. Okay, so I'm going to add a small container. I'm going to take the thing I want to move to the other shard, drop it in that container. There it is. And then we're going to use FD backup to back it up here, and then FD restore to restore it on the production server. So let's just do it. And we give it a name, we'll call it tools. Okay, so we're going to FD backup tools. You target the container and it's done. 2 objects dumped. So it dumped the container and what it contains. Alright, so let's look at my the folder. This is the folder for my test center shard on my local machine. I'm just here on my local machine, and we just dumped this guy, tools.fddb, freeze-dried database. Okay, so I'm just going to pick this up, copy it, and I have a remote desktop session here. I'm going to go to this is my server machine, and I'm going to drop it into the test center folder of my server machine. Okay, so I'm just going to drop it right here. Very small file. There it is. Tools FDDB. All right. Okay, now we're here on the production server on test center, and let's just restore it. And there it is. And there's my control. And it's all there. So that's it. So for developers, you've seen the previous videos where I use backup and restore to back up entire sections of the map. The most recent section we are using backup and restore is Dagger Island, and that's some 17,500 items. It's huge, and a lot of them are complex items, template mobiles, region controllers, all sorts of neat stuff. But something I use really frequently is just using it on a really small scale like this, just moving something from my local machine or from the production machine back and forth to other shards. I've said this in other videos, but the magic here has to do with serial numbers. The magic of backup and restore is it reserializes everything, gives every item a new serial number, a neutral serial number actually. It doesn't pull from the normal item serial numbers, hex 400 ABCD. It pulls from a different range, which is reserved, which is far, several billion beyond what is normally used in game. So it gives them all a new serial number, and then when you restore it, it reads those back in with this special reserved serial range, and then it reserializes them to whatever the server you're restoring it on. So it will just go and now grab usual serials for this shard, and so let's actually look at that. Okay, so the serial number of this guy on my production shard is 400 blah 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 this. Okay, so let's look at what it is here. Okay, so it's an entirely different serial number. So everything was reserialized. So it goes from here to a reserve serial range, and then the restore process converts that reserve serial range back to something which is usual for that shard. So it's a multi-step process, but very handy, quick, and it's useful. Like I say, I use this a lot. Anyway, so that's it. You can use the backup and restore not only for grabbing it, backing up entire sections of your map and restoring them across servers, but you can also use it for tools and a little bit of history. That where this actually originated was, I think, back in around 2005. We had some players that used an exploit to break into somebody's house and steal just all their stuff, right? And it wasn't the player's fault, so we looked at trying to restore their problems, their items, and it's a pretty significant problem, because you don't want to revert the whole shard, because the guy didn't find out for a couple days, and we don't want to revert all the players, and a manual process of restoring these items would be really painful. So we came up with this freeze dry file system, FD file, and we could target a container and use this mechanism that I just described here to freeze dry it and then restore it on the destination server. And it worked well, but it was very not nearly as simple as what you're seeing here. You had to manually reserve serial numbers on the source computer and make sure that those same serials were available on the destination computer or shard, and so that's all been automated, and by introducing this reserved range in between, you don't have to worry about reserving on the source and destination. It just works. Anyway, so it has evolved over time from just being restore of a container across shards to the ability to grab entire, you could grab the whole world. It would be expensive, but you could, and restore it on another shard. Currently, we do map sections. We did a room in the wrong dungeon, a couple thousand items, 2,500 items. We did a whole island, created the entire island, Pirate Island, and that was 5,000 items. And now we're doing Dagger Island, which is 17,500 items, and it just works. Okay. One final note, if you're still listening, not only does it give new serial numbers to everything, right? But a lot of our items link to other items. Like all of our controllers, like our motion sensor, it will link to another controller. It has a pointer in there that points to another controller that will take the motion signal. And then that controller, maybe it's a trigger relay, will link to 6 other things that it needs to trigger. So backup and restore, not only does it give everybody a new serial number, but it also analyzes every item to see what it links to, and then it has a link patcher, which is able to patch in all of the new serial numbers, right? And it has to do that twice. It has to do it when you're backing up to go to the intermediate reserved range of serial numbers, and then it needs to do it again when you're restoring it to the destination Shards serial domain. So it's an important aspect of the system, not trivial, but it's doable and it works. And that's it. All right. Hope you found this useful. Bye.